Hello, my friends. Perlo Wisdom here from R&J Media and Puck in Deep, my new show that'll be coming up this season. We're working on websites and stuff like that, but be looking for it because it's going to be great. And today, I'm going to be looking at the Edmonton Oilers season preview, projections, and outlook. I've looked at a lot of teams. You can go check them out. San Jose, I've done Detroit, Toronto, uh, Seattle, a whole bunch of them. Anyways, go check them out. I am also associated with the Ice Guys, who I voted the best sports podcast in North America last year. I do a show with them Monday and Wednesday, so if you like the betting, we made a lot of money last year, that's for sure. You might want to check that out, or you can go to Perlo's NHL POW on Twitter, where you will be able to get all my content, and eventually we'll be able to purchase my picks at a very small amount. You can also join the community there. If you are part of my community, if you go to my Twitter page, on the top you'll see a community page that you can attach to. Is that the word? You can become part of or subscribe to, I should say. And if you're in there, you'll get a great deal on my picks and all my content all the time. All right, so we're going to look at the Edmonton Oilers. Edmonton Oilers are the team that I lived in Edmonton for a lot of years. I sort of prescribe to them. I'm not emotionally attached to them, but I do wish them to do well. Of course, we're going to talk about Connor McDavid, and I've already did a YouTube video on my thoughts on Connor McDavid. I will tell you that I predicted right after the Florida Panthers series that he would not sign with the Edmonton Oilers, so we'll see if that comes true. But you can find out why on that, if you go into my videos there, subscribe, get into my videos, and you can see why I said that. Let's look at, we're looking at this at Puckpedia, and it's really interesting the way they have their lines set up here. I don't know if they'll stay that way. They certainly won't stay that way when Hyman comes back. He won't be back for until early November, I heard. So let's start with Hyman, assuming he comes back. Hyman is just a great, awesome winger. Great three-zone defensive player. If you know what, when people are talking about the most underrated players in the game, I would put Hyman up there. His offensive skills are fantastic. His compete is amazing. He has like I said, very responsible three-zone defensive game. Goes to the net, does whatever the coach wants you to do. He's physical. He does everything. He is a prototypical NHL player. I absolutely love him, and they're going to miss him a lot here in the first month. Who they have in his place, this is Puckpedia. They have David Tomashek. And I don't know much about him except that he had 57 points in 47 games, and he's a pretty big fellow. I have read some things on him, and from what I've read from scouts and stuff, I mean, it's highly unlikely he's going to be able to fill a top line spot here. This is a guy who would probably, if he does do well, he's 29, he's almost 30 years old. If he does do well, he may be a third line player down the road, like at his best. So putting him up here on the top line is kind of odd. This might be just for the purposes of preseason, just to see everything that he can do. So we'll see. It's all I can give you on that, except that he's not really what you would call a prototypical top line winger. They have Mangiapane on the left side of Connor McDavid. I don't need to tell you anything about Connor McDavid, except for I will tell you this. I think Connor McDavid is better than most Edmonton Oilers fans do. I think he is absolutely unbelievable. Doesn't get enough credit for how good he is three-zone defensively, how intelligent he is, how much of a leader he is. He drags this team into the finals, I believe. Him and Draisaitl combined. So yeah, I love him. I mean, I love him as a talent, no doubt about it. Andrew Mangiapane on the left-hand side. I mean, this is Connor McDavid better be really as good as I think he is, because if these are his line mates, he's going to have to be. I like Andrew Mangiapane. I liked him better about 2, 3 years ago when he was in Calgary. But since he went to Washington, he played against very low. The coach gave him. Carberry is a great coach there in did I say in Washington. Carberry is a great coach, and he had him playing against low competition. I get this from watching the games, but I also get it from JFresh Analytics, who I have checked a lot of analytical models and used them for handicapping for betting. And this and JFresh's have been most effective for me because it does get into the kind of competition he's played against, and I love the war concept where it's winning above replacement. If you had somebody else, how well would they do above replacement? He is not a top line left winger right now. He's got to prove it to me that he can play this role. Knobloch, great coach. He is a master at using what pieces he has to get the best out of them. And if he does use them in this spot, I imagine he's going to be switching in and out and using him in certain situations. Playing against lower competition, Mangiapane is a very good three-zone defensive player. But I wouldn't call him elite by any stretch, and I certainly wouldn't call him elite offensively. This is going to be tough for me, David, if these are his two top. Unless Mangiapane just comes out and kind of reverts back to what he was 3 years ago, which even then wouldn't have considered him for the top LW, or shouldn't have. Decent 5-on-5 guy. He's a decent player. I like the fact that when they picked him up, I liked it because they needed three-zone defensive players on this team, but he should be down on a third line on a really good team. So this first line is the way it's constructed now without Hyman is all Connor McDavid, and then hopefully and he's going to get everybody points. Pretty much the way I see it here. Vasily Podkolzin, again, his offensive skills are just not there, people. Okay, there's a lot of people on Twitter that I converse with all the time, that converse with a lot, that think that he's got more to give offensively, maybe a little more. But if you think this guy's going to be a 50-point player in the league, well, you got more hope than me, because I don't see it. He just doesn't have the offensive skills. Leon Draisaitl propped him up quite a bit, saying that he's the kind of guy that can go and dig in the corners and get the puck, do things that I can't do, which I think he's kind of selling himself a little bit short there. But he's really just trying to lift Podkolzin up, which you have to be, because he's got to be playing with a lot of confidence to be scoring any points in this league, because he's not very offensively gifted at all. He is a strong three-zone defensive player if given the right competition to play against. And when he's up on this second line, he does okay. He's much better in lower roles, but he does okay. He's not a second line left winger, though. I'm sorry. He's just not. He's at his best, at his peak. He's only 24. He's got room to grow. He could be a solid third liner. At this point, I would barely put him at that, to tell you the honest truth. Sure, I love his compete level. He seems like he doesn't seem like, he is a very intelligent player, and he does a lot with the skills that he does have. Give you that, no doubt about it. He's got a lot of heart too. So it's not that I think he's a terrible player, but I do think if you're using Mangiapane and Tomashek on the top line and he's on the second, you're in trouble. And I talked about this a lot last year when in the Florida Edmonton series on the Ice Guys. You might want to go look back on all the things I had to say about the weaknesses of Edmonton and how I thought that McDavid and Draisaitl pretty much dragged this team into the finals. They have Puckpedia has Kasperi Kapanen on the right side of Draisaitl. no way this guy should be on any second line anywhere. Unless you're like San Jose Sharks, not even then. Unless you're a really bad team, you're really asking a lot to use Kasperi Kapanen in this role. Yes, he's fast, but that's about it. Like he's not strong defensively. His offensive ability, he's got a good shot. His speed is what carries him, and he can drive to the net. Um, he can have a lot of passion, but also if things don't go well for him, he has a tendency to hang his head, which is the reason why I think Draisaitl pumped him up because he plays best when he's playing confident, just like any other player. But especially with Kasperi Kapanen, this is a guy that has been an AHL player most of his career, played in Pittsburgh for a while. Probably because of confidence issues. I do think he should be on a fourth line somewhere or something like that to add a little bit of offense from there. But to have Kapanen and Podkolzin on your second line, you are just putting tons and tons of a load on Leon Draisaitl, who said just recently, and we'll go into Leon Draisaitl right now, that he would like to be mentioned as in the Selke votes this year. Well, you were last year, and unjustifiably so. Not that he wasn't bad defensively last year. It was actually his best year he's ever had. But his best year he's ever had was about average for a top line center. Now, one thing I will say with McDavid and Draisaitl, they do play against absolutely elite competition all the time. So being average defensively with his offense is more than good enough. Absolutely more than good enough. Like, I'm not disparaging Leon Draisaitl at all. Absolutely elite player. No question about it. One of the best in the league for sure. I'm not disparaging that. But to say that could be in the Selke competition, he's going to have to do a lot, improve even more this year. But if he goes, plus 32, I'm not big plus minus guy, and I think that's the reason why he got a lot of the votes that he did was because of his plus minus. He'll probably get the votes. But unfortunately for him, more and more of the voters for Selke and such are more analytics driven. I know plus minus is a analytic. It's just not a very good analytic. But anyways, okay. Second line, it's good because of Draisaitl. First line, good because of McDavid. The rest of the lineup with his wingers though, it should be extremely good. But I can only call it good just because of those two guys, sadly to say. Now, I do think one thing I got to say is they're going to try Mangiapane up there. I think Nugent Hopkins will go up on the left side there. And Henrique will go into the middle and Mangiapane will come on the left side on this third line, which is much better suited for Mangiapane. But I'm just going on with what Puckpedia has for their lineups right now. The third line, of course, you have Ryan Nugent-Hopkins there. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins is a great three-zone defense player. Like Hyman, he's probably one of the most underrated players in the league. He's not extremely physical, but he's extremely smart. He's a very good playmaker. He's very good at working with his teammates. He knows his role. He knows what he's good at. He knows how to get the best out of his game. He's great. If he was on another team without Draisaitl and McDavid, he would probably play on somebody's top line or at least be an elite second line center. He can play left wing just as good as he can play center, and that's awesome too. I love him. If you want to play him in this third line role, I see what they're doing here, trying to get depth up the middle. However, I just think the wingers are not good enough to do this, and I think he'll end up being up there. But for now, I just want to say he's a great third line guy. Puts up points when he can. Most of them 5-on-5. He gets a lot of points on the power play. Runs the power play well. Very solid player. Now, when we look at Adam Henrique, on the other hand, was a good player. Was a very good player, actually. Was a very good three-zone defensive player 3 to 4 years ago, actually most of his career, but has slipped a lot as of late. I barely would. He's basically a less than average third liner now. His defensive play has slipped. Like last year, it went down a lot. Could be because of some injuries or something like that. But even the year before, it's just been slowly going down and down and down. And he doesn't provide all that much offense for you. So a reasonable third line option if you have two strong other players like beside Hopkins, it's not bad. But honestly, he's on his way out from what I can tell. I wouldn't bet on a rebound year for Henrique. I'd be honestly looking to package him with something to get more to this lineup. And then we have Matthew Savoy. And I'll be the first to admit, I've watched Matthew Savoy. He looks like he's got a lot of skill. And from what I understand, they want to play him with Draisaitl. And I'm kind of surprised that Puckpedia doesn't have him in that spot here. Because that's what the whole talk about was with Savoy. He's going to play with Draisaitl, so he's going to get a lot of points and stuff like that. He played in Bakersfield, had 54 points in 66 games, which in the AHL isn't that great, but a lot of the people people make good points when talking about Savoy is that it wasn't a very good offensive team, and he did pull out some pretty good offense considering he wasn't on a great offensive team. Besides that, he's known for his defensive ability as well. We'll see how that pans out. He's not the biggest guy in the world. I don't think he's coming in here and he's going to win the world and move the needle a great amount, but I'm going to give him whatever. He's slick. He's good on his edges. He's a good passer. He jets in and out of the ice very well. So you play him with. I would have to give him a shot with this lineup before I'd put Kasperi Kapanen on that wing. I'd have to give him a shot with Draisaitl. The thing is, though, he is a rookie and he's only 21 years old. He's never played a full season in the NHL. So even if he does have a lot of skill and all of those things, we also you have to kind of wonder if he's going to be able to have the endurance to go through a whole season in the NHL. And that's no slight on him. That's just normal for players coming up in the NHL. So we'll see. I'm going to put a we'll see with that. Optimistically speaking, he goes up and he plays with Draisaitl and he puts about 40 points on the board, something like that. That's optimistically to me what he would do. Trent Frederic, this is a guy, Trent Frederic, he's had injury issues. One time in Boston, he looked like he was on the trajectory to be a very good third liner and even be able to fill in on the second line. However, the injuries have seemed to have a toll. I'm going to go on the optimist side here and say that he's through with his injuries and he has a bit of a rebound here and takes that spot from Henrique, because I think that Henrique, and I think that's really the reason why they grabbed Trent Frederic, is they know that Henrique is on the way down. And I'd rather see Henrique on the fourth line at this stage of his career than playing up there on the third. So this is a hope. It's really a hope, because the last 2 years he hasn't looked like it. Right now he only looks like a fourth liner. If you saw him in the playoffs, he just came back from injury though, by the way. Of course, as you know. So I'm being very positive here to say that he steps up, becomes a third liner like he looked like he could be, and he's able to play with Hopkins, and then you've got a pretty good third line, assuming you put Hopkins there. If you put Hopkins up on the top line though, Henrique becomes the center and Frederic becomes the winger, and I'm not so fond of that. As a third line for sure, but it's still not looking like a great third line. I'm sorry. I'm trying to be positive here, Edmonton Oilers fans, but I'm finding a lot of difficulty being so. As it stands right now, though, we have Frederic Janmark and Isaac Howard for the fourth line. We already talked about Frederic, so I'll go to Matthias Janmark. He's your standard solid fourth liner. He's a good, strong two-way guy, three-zone defensive player, as long as he's not playing against elite competition. Nothing wrong with Janmark here. It's okay. The Isaac Howard on the fourth line, this makes no sense to me whatsoever. And I've said this before. I actually did a video on this on my channel. You can go check it out if you want to see it in depth. I don't think Isaac Howard is going to play too much in the NHL this year. Maybe to start, but that's it. Already that they have Isaac Howard down on the fourth line tells me he's probably maybe going to play 9 games and he's down in the AHL. From all the scouts I talk to, and I'll be the first to admit, I don't watch college hockey because I'm so focused on NHL. I don't see much of it, so I rely on scouts that I watch on YouTube and that I know of on my Twitter accounts that watch me and know me, and we converse, and they say that he's got to play in the top 6 or he's not playing this year. If he can't play on the top 6, he's going in the AHL. He has a lot to learn on all the aspects of the pro game. And so yeah, he's not I know a few things about him is he's a high shot guy. Doesn't have a great shot, but shoots a lot. He tries to get in spots and shoot, spots and shoot, spots and shoots, which is fine. There's some really good players that play like that in the NHL. But he doesn't have the greatest shots. And there's a lot of players that don't have great shots that do very well in the NHL that shoot a lot. It's okay with that, but they usually go hard to the net. They have to be very physical and add more to their game than just that one aspect. And as it stands right now, from what I understand, that's the only aspect he's really NHL level at, if he is NHL level at all. So I don't think he's going to be in that spot. I think it's more likely going to be a Lazar or a Jones. Or I actually would hope that they give Robbie Gerventi a shot. I think I've always said he's kind of a late bloomer that would probably end up being in the NHL one day. Maybe it's his time right now. But if it's Lazar or Jones, especially Lazar, serviceable fourth liner, I would prefer that right now over Howard. But as far as this forward group is concerned, man, if Hyman isn't back, you're relying on Draisaitl, McDavid, and Hopkins an awful lot in this lineup. Enough that with those guys and with Hyman, I mean, I'm not saying they're not going to make the playoffs because they're in a poor division. But I'm saying if they were in the Atlantic or maybe or in the Central, they might have a tough time here. Really, even with McDavid and Draisaitl, I'm not so sure, except for this part. I'm talking about just from that forward group perspective. Except for this part. And this is where I can be extremely positive. Matthias Ekholm is, even though he's 35 years old, he was injured, kind of struggled in the playoffs a little bit on his way back. He's still just a giant defensive defenseman. I mean, a giant in that he's awesome. His size, his shot, he's got a great shot. He can drive play very, very well and play against elite competition. I can't say enough about him. The guy's awesome. I loved it when they picked him up. So not much to say about that. Evan Bouchard gets a lot of crap for his defensive game, which isn't as bad as a lot of people make it out to be. A lot of people, I hear people putting him in like the Kapanen, Carlson in Pittsburgh category. Erik Karlsson? No, he's better than that. Yes, he's not the most physical guy in the world and can be out-muscled. He is not good playing one-on-one defensively. And those two things look bad on the eye test. When a player gets beat one-on-one or, is supposed to be physical in a corner and a guy gets away, that's eye test. This is the reason why I follow analytics, because analytics kind of, when we're watching a hockey game, we are usually not looking at the whole thing. We're just kind of looking at this one play by play with our eyes. We're not looking at where a player is when the puck's not there and all that kind of stuff like that. I love the game, and I don't watch a lot of games like that. I actually will rewatch games during the day to see what my eyes might be missing when my analytics don't match my eyes. So Bouchard is very good positional player, especially in the neutral zone and the offensive zone, in the sense that he doesn't overplay his offense in those two zones. He's very good at being back in his spots in the defensive zone. Once he's in them, I wouldn't call him very good at some things like one-on-one spots. He's not going to outmuscle guys too much, but he can use a stick. He does use a stick well to intercept passes and stuff like that. But those two big ones are ones that you go, oh, this isn't a good defenseman. Now, am I saying he's a great defensive player? No. No, he's not. But for his offense that he produces, especially his first pass out of the zone, he's excellent. And this is another eye test thing that happens a lot. You have a player like Evan Bouchard who has the puck on his stick more than any other player on his team. And he's used more than anybody else against top competition. And he makes a lot of passes out of the defensive zone that other players can't make. And he makes them and people go, okay, whatever. He got out of the zone. But they're actually fantastic passes that most of the players on his team and in the league can't do. Now, every once in a while, those passes aren't going to work. And he's going to look really bad. So eye test wise, he ends up looking like, oh, look at it. He gives up the puck too much. Well, if you ask a guy like Wallman or Kulak or somebody like that to make those passes, and they're going to get smoked a lot more. They just make the safer play, that's all. And you need a guy like that, and he's very good. He's an elite defenseman. He's not elite defensively, but his offense more than makes up for his defensive deficiencies by a long shot. So this combination of Bouchard and Ekholm is excellent. Some of the best in the league, no doubt about it. Darnell Nurse, another guy who gets slammed a lot, who's actually not bad defensively. Now, they use him against lesser competition, but I would put him as an average number one defenseman. But he's another guy that has the same sort of issues as Bouchard and Nurse. However, although he's very good at first passes out of the zone, he's not elite. But he is very good positionally again. One thing about Nurse that I hard time watching is the guy can't block shots for shit. I don't know how he has never learned how to flop properly. He looks like he's flopping all over the ice. He's not very good. He's terrible on the eyes. And that's why people don't like him. He's the weirdest player. He is probably the best player in the NHL who doesn't look like he is. He does all the eye test things wrong. But his first pass out of the zone is excellent. And one of the things in the playoffs people talked about Nurse is he ices the puck too much. Well, in the playoffs, if you watch those games, these wingers that I was talking about, like Kapanen, Podkolzin, Adam Henry, Kane, they were not giving him a passing opportunity a lot of the time. It was terrible, to tell you the honest truth. So he iced the puck because he had nobody to pass to. Anyways, I just wanted to bring that up. Playing him in this spot, he's much better. He's either a very, very, very good second pair or an average to a below average top pair. Yes, he's getting overpaid. There's no doubt about that. But he's not as bad as people say. Jake Wallman was an unbelievable pickup by the Oilers. And when they made this pickup, I was like, yes, baby. And it puts my faith in Stan Bowman and what they're doing there, because I get the feeling that they're really sort of analytics driven in a lot of the pickups that they make. They're doing the best they can. Edmonton Oilers have a hard time drawing players to their city, even with McDavid there. But the way they're going about in selecting the players they can get, I think they're doing excellent. And Jake Wallman is a top pairing right D. I don't know how Detroit let him go for as little as he did. I heard that they were in on Ekholm or who else was it? It was another defenseman that they were going to pick up, and I don't think he was the one that they were going to pick up is equal to maybe even Jake Wallman better than. And they gave him up for a third. San Jose picked him up, did a good job getting a first and a second, I think, for him when they only gave up a third. And I think Edmonton did a fantastic job, even though they had to give up the first. Love them. Nothing wrong with this top four at all. If the one thing that is for sure going to say that they're going to make the playoffs, which I think they will, this defense is really good. Brett Kulak had an awesome year last year. Yeah, he doesn't play against top competition, but as a third pairing D, he is as good as you can get for that role. Solid defensive defenseman. Doesn't do a lot with the puck when he has to take it out of the zone, but he's very smart to put it in right places, and he knows his limits and uses them well. I really love him. Underrated player for a third. He could play up in the top four and he wouldn't be hurting you either, but playing in this third pair, he is excellent, excellent, excellent. I love him. Ty Emerson, now they have on the right side. He hasn't really been getting opportunities too much to play against top competition. They really try to use him against the weaker competition on the other teams, and he's going to get a chance this year probably to play against stiffer competition. What I mean by that is coaches will quite often use players in spots and against lesser teams. Emerson's kind of went in and out of the lineup. So like you're playing against the San Jose Sharks or something like that. They really try to play young players like rookies like this, especially Knobloch, in the best spots that are going to give them the best opportunity to succeed. This year, I think he's going to have to go. I think he's going to get a chance to go play against stiffer competition because he did really well against the lesser competition up last year. We'll see how he does. I think he'll do all right. And I like that top six. I have no problems with it whatsoever. If I have any issue, really, it's, you have Troy Stetcher there. They might use him. They may do what they did last year and put Stetcher in certain situations, Emerson and others. Hard to say. Hard to say, really, what will happen there. Stetcher's he's okay, I guess. He's a good skater and stuff, but, I mean, you don't want him playing anything above your 5-6 spot for sure. And they got Riley Stillman. Not much here. Of course, the big thing everybody talks about is the goaltending. And yeah, Skinner is not an elite goaltender. He's a below average goaltender. No doubt about it. I mean, he has his moments and he looks really good. And he has his moments and he looks really bad. And his overall game is below average. As you saw in the playoffs, sometimes you go, oh, wow, Skinner, this is going to be great. And then it just falls apart. Now, the interesting thing here is apparently Skinner lost 25 pounds last year. They got a new goalie coach. So we're going to see. They're pretty confident that losing the weight and whatever the goalie coach is telling them is going to help them a lot. I don't know if that's confidence or hope and confidence or what. I don't know. I know that Edmonton Oilers fans are very upset that he's going into the regular season as a number one. In fact, a lot of Edmonton Oilers fans think it's the number one reason why they didn't win in the finals, and I disagree. But I think it's the wingers that are just not very good. And you have a couple guys driving the lines like Hyman and all of those guys. Hyman and Hopkins, McDavid and Draisaitl just did amazing stuff for this team, and a great coach that knows how to give players rest and put them in when they have the best legs and all that. But we'll see what happens with Skinner. They have some cap room. Calvin Pickard, I love Calvin Pickard in the sense that the guy was a career AHL player and he finally got his chance. And he does the best he can as a backup. That's what I can say about that. My biggest concern about the Edmonton Oilers here, I mean, I have them making the playoffs, is Connor McDavid hasn't signed yet, as we all know. I don't think he's going to. And one of the reasons why I don't think he's going to is if he does, it's going to depend on what they do with this team. From what I see here, he's going to be dragging a lot of games. He is going to be the one dragging these players along. I don't see how Edmonton has done much to improve their team, to tell you the honest truth. And if he doesn't feel like this team is improved, or he has a reason, and it's been 10 years. They've had a difficult time drawing players for 10 years now. And he's kind of dragged the team, and I believe he knows that. And if the longer this goes on, he goes unsigned, I think the longer it's going to be difficult for the players to not be distracted in some way. And it could be tough for this team. It could be. It's hard to say. I still think they make the playoffs. He's a great leader. And after that, I'm not picking them to make the finals this year with this roster. They got to do more than this. I mean, I didn't pick them last year though too. So during the playoffs, I picked them to beat Dallas and I picked them to beat Vegas. I didn't pick them to beat LA. But I seriously think the way this lineup is up right now, this team is not as good as last year. And I think you're asking a lot for amazing players like Connor McDavid to drag teams over and over and over into the finals. So that's my full 42, boys and girls. Tell me what you think down there in the comment section. And I'll talk to you on Twitter. Have a great day. Okay, bye.